Hi everyone, my name is Mark, and today we're going to take a look at another horrible case with you. Alexandria Allie Kostial, born on September 11, 1997 in St. Louis, Missouri, was the cherished daughter of Cindy and Keith. She had a brother, Andrew. Allie's contagious smile and warm personality instantly drew people to her. Her infectious joy and ability to make everyone around her feel comfortable made her a beloved figure in her community. Allie's bubbly nature was a characteristic that stood out from an early age. She possessed an innate ability to make people smile and brought a sense of happiness wherever she went. Whether she was playing with friends, interacting with classmates, or spending time with her family, Allie's positive energy was infectious. Due to her friendly nature, Allie could connect with people from all walks of life. Allie was never hesitant to strike up a conversation with someone she had never met before. In addition to her charming personality, Allie was known for her unwavering kindness and compassion. She was always willing to lend a helping hand or offer a listening ear to those in need. Allie attended Lindbergh High School, where she ran track and cheered. At Lindbergh High School, Allie met her best friend, Maddie Norris, and they formed an unbreakable bond. Their friendship went beyond that of mere acquaintances. They became sisters. They shared an unwavering trust and a deep emotional connection. Allie and Maddie had a zest for life and constantly sought new experiences and adventures. Together, they tackled challenges, laughed, and created memories that would last a lifetime. Another one of their favorite activities was spending lazy afternoons lounging on the couch, engrossed in a chick flick. Their favorite go-to movie was Legally Blonde, which they would watch repeatedly, each time finding something new to laugh at and enjoy. The lighthearted humor and relatable characters provided them with endless entertainment. When Allie obtained her driver's license, she and Maddie discovered the joy of the open road. They would often take to Allie's convertible with the top down and cruise through town, feeling the wind in their hair and the warm summer air on their skin. As their senior year approached, Allie was without a date for the upcoming prom. Although a few boys had asked her out, she hadn't been in a relationship or had a serious boyfriend. Feeling disappointed, she considered skipping the event altogether. However, Maddie made a plan. Maddie knew how much Allie wanted to attend prom and was determined to make things right. Without hesitation, she offered to accompany Allie as her date. Allie, touched by her friend's selflessness, readily accepted Maddie's offer. She wore a beautiful red dress that night. After Allie graduated from high school, she eagerly enrolled in the University of Mississippi, also known as Ole Miss, in Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss had always been Allie's dream school, and she had eagerly looked forward to attending it. What attracted Allie to Ole Miss was its large size and thriving community. As a sports fan, she particularly appreciated the college's strong football program, known for its rich tradition and community spirit. In the fall of 2006, Allie began her freshman year at the university, majoring in marketing and business. While Ole Miss boasted numerous attributes, one specific element drew Allie to the school. She had long dreamed of meeting a Southern boy, marrying him, and having children. To her, the grounds of Ole Miss offered the perfect setting for meeting her future partner. As Allie embarked on this new chapter in her life, she embraced the opportunities that Ole Miss presented. Ole Miss's size and sense of community allowed her to interact with diverse people. The vibrant campus atmosphere fostered a sense of camaraderie and belonging, and Allie eagerly participated in various events and activities the university had to offer. During her time at Ole Miss, Allie decided to join a sorority. Allie was a founding member of her sorority, Alpha Phi. Furthermore, Allie was the president of the Ole Miss Golf Club. In addition to academics, Allie embraced Ole Miss's rich traditions, such as the university's mascot, the Ole Miss Rebels. Attending Ole Miss proved to be a time of growth and friendship for Allie. Her friendly and kind nature made connecting with others easy, and her presence on campus quickly made her a recognizable face. One of Allie's college friends, Morgan Hull, was particularly impressed by her ability to maneuver furniture in her dorm room on the first day of freshman year. Despite being small, Allie displayed a remarkable strength and determination, leaving Morgan in awe. While at a party on campus at Ole Miss, Allie met another friend, Eliza Brick. They hit it off instantly from the moment they met, as if they'd known each other for years. The connection was so strong that it seemed as if Allie and Eliza were destined to be friends. Sunsets had always captivated Allie's attention. There was something mesmerizing about the changing colors of the sky as the sun descended toward the horizon. Of all the colors that made up a sunset, pink held a special place in Allie's heart. It was not only her favorite color, but also one that made her feel calm and peaceful. There was something about the soft, delicate hues of pink that reminded her of the tranquility and beauty of nature. Allie's love for sunsets was so strong that she made it her mission to capture as many stunning shots of this natural phenomenon as possible. She was determined to share her appreciation for the beauty that surrounded her with the rest of the world, so Allie created an Instagram account dedicated to showcasing her collection of sunset photos. While Allie was out one night at a bar downtown Oxford, she met a boy named Brandon Theesfeld from Fort Worth, Texas. Allie was immediately drawn to Brandon, thinking he was cute, and developed a crush on him. She invited him to many of her sorority dances. As time went on, Allie's feelings for Brandon grew stronger. Brandon was born into a loving and Christian family. He had a privileged upbringing as his father was a prominent doctor in Fort Worth. Growing up, Brandon had a typical Texan childhood. His favorite activities included hunting, fishing, and soccer. If an activity involved the outdoors, Brandon was eager to participate. During one school break, Maddie Norris, Allie's best friend from St. Louis, Missouri, came to visit Allie in Oxford, Mississippi. Maddie was eager to meet Brandon, as Allie constantly gushed about him. However, Maddie never got the opportunity to meet Brandon during her time in Oxford, since Brandon never reached out or came around. Brandon's behavior deeply hurt Allie, as she trusted that he would make an effort to connect with her and her best friend. Maddie, who witnessed Allie's pain, felt awful for her friend. Although Allie seemed hurt, she remained resilient and determined to make the most of her time at Ole Miss. Despite Brandon's actions, Allie was thriving academically and socially during her freshman year. She had made friends and was enjoying her college experience. The summer before Allie's senior year at Ole Miss in July 2019 was a time of excitement and anticipation for Allie and her parents, Cindy and Keith. As Allie prepared for the final year of her education, her parents decided to visit her in Oxford for a few days. They were eager to see their daughter in her element and get a glimpse of her life at the university. That summer, Allie also taught a fitness class and attended summer school. Upon their arrival, Allie eagerly showed her parents her favorite spots around town. She took them on a personalized tour of her campus, sharing her excitement about the various buildings and landmarks. It was an opportunity for Cindy and Keith to witness their daughter's growth and take pride in her accomplishments. While her parents were staying with Allie one evening, Cindy cooked her daughter's favorite dinner. They enjoyed a special meal together, bonding over delicious food and reminiscing about old times. Because Allie loved everything beachy, she and Cindy drove to a store and purchased beachy home decor items for her apartment. They spent a few hours shopping for items that would add a touch of coastal charm to Allie's living space. From beach-themed decorations to colorful throw pillows, they carefully selected items that reflected Allie's love for the beach. On the day Allie's parents were due to return home to St. Louis, she begged them to stay one more day. She wanted them to experience more of what Oxford had to offer before they left. Despite the initial plan, Cindy and Keith eventually agreed to stay an extra day. On July 19th, the day they were due to return home, Allie's parents called around 7 p.m. Allie answered the phone, groggy from having just woken up from a nap, and explained to her mom that she planned to go out with her friends that evening. Unaware of the conversation's significance, Cindy told Allie she loved her and hung up. Little did she know, it would be the last time she would talk to her daughter. Sardis Lake, 30 minutes outside of Oxford, is a vast area known for its hunting camps and recreational spaces. The area is large and is patrolled by the local sheriff's department to ensure security. On June 20th, 2019, an officer was assigned to patrol Sardis Lake in the early morning hours. It was pitch black outside, with an eerie sense of isolation and desolation. As the officer drove around the lake, he noticed something unusual near a picnic table. Upon closer inspection, he realized he had stumbled upon a gruesome sight. Lying lifeless on the floor was the body of a young woman, riddled with at least 9 gunshot wounds. Shocked by what he had found, the officer immediately called for backup. Minutes later, additional officers and medics arrived on the scene. The backup officers noticed a purse in a nearby ditch as they arrived. Intrigued, one of the officers approached it cautiously. Upon opening the bag, the officer discovered a wallet inside. This wallet contained an Ole Miss student ID and a driver's license with the name of Alexandria Kostial. After the discovery of Allie's body at Sardis Lake, it was necessary to contact the parents, Cindy and Keith. However, at the time, they were far from their daughter, at home in St. Louis. Therefore, they never expected to receive a phone call in the middle of the night informing them that their daughter had been the victim of a homicide. This news was incredibly difficult for Cindy to process. When Allie's friends heard she had been murdered, they were just as shocked as Allie's parents. Allie's absence left a void in their hearts as they remembered the vibrant and full-of-life person she had always been. In response to this tragic news, her friends turned to social media to express their grief and demand for justice. They created a hashtag Justice for Allie, to unite their voices and amplify their demands for justice. Allie's friends wrote about her in their social media posts, sharing fond memories of her and the impact she had on their lives. Through these heartfelt tributes, they aimed to honor Allie's memory and express condolences to her family. After Allie's murder, a recent graduate from Ole Miss, Brashondra Kendricks, a close friend, expressed her sorrow. Brashonda, a recent graduate, worked in student housing at the university. She described Allie as someone with a contagious happiness and a positive outlook. According to Brashonda, Allie always wore a big smile, reflecting her bright spirit. Brashonda met Allie while working as a community desk assistant in Crosby Hall, the largest residence hall on campus. Whenever Brashonda was stationed there, Allie would stop by and say hello. Brashonda said Allie was a sweet girl living her life to the fullest and enjoying every moment. Allie's sorority released a statement after her murder, expressing their shock and sadness at the loss of one of their members. Alpha Phi sorority said they were grieving the loss of Allie Kostial, and they sent their deepest sympathies to her family during this incredibly difficult time. The sorority stated that they hoped for solace for the Alpha Phi sisters. Anna Pascoe, a close friend of Allie from Ole Miss, recently posted on her Facebook page expressing her heartfelt condolences for the loss of her friend, describing Allie as the most genuine and uplifting person she had ever known, Anna emphasized the impact she had on the lives of those fortunate enough to have met her. A member of the Lindbergh High School cheerleading squad, Emily Groh, took to Twitter to express her shock and sadness at Allie's murder. She described their time together on the cheerleading squad as an honor and emphasized how brightly Allie shone with her positive attitude. Emily expressed her regret at not having had the opportunity to get to know Allie better. At the crime scene at Sardis Lake, where Allie's body was discovered, crime scene investigators stumbled upon several cans of White Claw seltzer and 11 .40 caliber shell casings scattered on the ground. A ballistic expert was called to analyze the scene and determine what happened. The expert's analysis revealed that whoever had killed Allie had been sitting opposite her on the picnic table benches when they fired the first shot. However, after firing the first shot, the shooters stood up and began to circle the table, getting closer to Allie as they went. With every step closer to Allie, the expert theorized the shooter fired at her. One of the rounds fired by the shooter missed its target and got stuck in the wooden picnic table. Crime scene investigators searched Allie's apartment, hoping to uncover any evidence that could help in identifying and apprehending her murderer. One of the items discovered during the investigation was Allie's Apple Watch. However, despite this discovery, the police were unable to locate Allie's phone at the crime scene or her apartment. Curiously, however, some of her messages from the night before her murder inexplicably synced with her watch. As investigators delved into the content of these messages, they discovered that Allie had been engaged in lengthy conversations with Brandon Theesfeld. It became apparent from the messages that Allie and Brandon had plans to meet up. The detective assigned to Allie's homicide case decided to reach out to Brandon early on Sunday, the day after Allie's murder. He requested an interview and asked Brandon to meet him at the police station. Brandon told the detective he could not meet that day, but offered to meet the detective the following morning at 8:30 a.m. However, 8:30 a.m. arrived on Monday, and Brandon failed to show up for the scheduled interview. After Brandon did not show up for his interview at the police station regarding Allie's murder, the police started to track his cell phone. The data from Brandon's cell phone showed he was headed on Interstate 55, driving toward Memphis. Because it appeared to the police that Brandon was fleeing, they secured an arrest warrant and sent out a BOLO for his vehicle. Brandon's car had a unique tag, "Take It," so his truck was easily identifiable. 2 hours after the BOLO on Brandon was released, the Memphis Fugitive Task Force spotted his car at a gas station. Brandon was sitting in the car at a gas pump. Agents from the task force were able to take Brandon into custody and alerted the police in Mississippi. Investigators searched Brandon's vehicle and found a .40 caliber gun. Furthermore, when Brandon stepped out of his car, there was blood on his clothing. After Brandon was arrested and extradited to Mississippi, detectives began retracing his steps in the days leading up to Allie's murder. On Saturday, July 20th, Brandon stayed with friends and went bowling. However, the following day, Brandon showed up at a friend's house with a 6-pack of beer and his .40 caliber gun. The friend told the detectives that he and Brandon stayed up talking for a bit, but on Monday, when the friend woke up, Brandon was gone. During the investigation of Brandon, the detectives discovered that he had never engaged in any physical altercations and had no history of violence. The detectives also gathered information from Brandon's friends and Allie's loved ones, who revealed that the couple first met at a local bar in Oxford during their freshman year and started casually dating. However, things took a turn for the worse during their sophomore year. Allie's loved ones noticed a change in her attitude towards the relationship, indicating that she appeared more interested in it than Brandon. This difference in interest eventually led to friction between the two, with Brandon blocking Allie from contacting him because she would frequently go out and drink and call him. After a year had passed, Brandon and Allie reconnected during the summer before Allie's senior year. They decided to give their relationship another chance and started seeing each other again. In Allie's murder case, Brandon was charged with capital murder and faced the death penalty. The charge of capital murder is the most serious criminal offense that can be filed against a person. These charges were filed based on the state's belief that Brandon kidnapped Allie when he lured her to Sardis Lake. When the news of Brandon's arrest broke, it sent shockwaves through Oxford as the details of Allie's murder were widely reported. Brandon's arrest triggered a frenzy of speculation and rumors, with community members exchanging theories. Reporters flocked to the town, seeking interviews and information from those closest to Allie and Brandon. This media attention brought positive and negative attention to Oxford, as outsiders looked on with fascination and concern. In late September 2019, Brandon pleaded not guilty to the charge of murder. As the detectives continued to build their case against him, they went back to review text messages exchanged between the couple. The detectives discovered from the text messages exchanged between Allie and Brandon that in April 2019, 3 months before her murder, Allie was preparing for the spring semester finals while also grappling with the possibility that she was pregnant. On April 14th, Allie sent Brandon a picture of an inconclusive home pregnancy test. Brandon responded to Allie's message by stating that they would wait and see if she was truly pregnant, but if she was, he made it clear that they were not going to keep the baby and told Allie, "We can get a pill." However, Allie had different thoughts on the matter. She expressed uncertainty over whether she wanted to terminate the pregnancy and mentioned that she could potentially meet a man who would love her and the baby. Despite this, Brandon remained steadfast in his decision, telling Allie that he was serious and that having a child would ruin his life. The detectives stumbled upon CCTV footage of Allie exiting a bar on Oxford Square at approximately 11:45 p.m. on July 18th. Roughly an hour later, at around 1:30 a.m., Allie met up with Brandon, and he drove them to Sardis Lake. According to Brandon's defense attorneys, Allie and Brandon had been consuming alcohol throughout the day. Brandon's defense attorney alleged that when they arrived at Sardis Lake, they sat at a picnic table and listened to music. However, at some point, Brandon stood up and walked toward his truck, where he did drugs. He walked back to Allie, returned to his car, and retrieved his .40 caliber weapon. According to Brandon's attorney, there was a shooting that took place across the lake. Following the incident, Brandon sat down and engaged in further conversation with Allie. However, things took a sudden turn when he fatally shot her. The attorney argued that Brandon's actions were a result of his being under the influence of drugs and alcohol. However, the detectives and Allie's family had a different perspective on the incident. They believed that Brandon murdered Allie because he had reason to think that she was pregnant and this development would negatively impact his life. To them, the murder was premeditated, cold, and calculated. On August 27, 2021, Brandon accepted a plea deal offered by the state, which removed the death penalty from the table. Under the agreement, Brandon pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life without parole. Allie's friends and family gathered in the courtroom to show their support. They wore pink, which was Allie's favorite color. After the judge read the sentencing, Brandon addressed Allie's family. He expressed remorse for his actions and sought their forgiveness. Brandon acknowledged that the pain he had caused was immeasurable, but he hoped they could find it in their hearts to forgive him. According to Allie's autopsy report, the conclusion was that Allie was not pregnant at the time of her murder. However, that does not necessarily mean that Allie was never pregnant. Allie's mother, Cindy, holds the belief that Allie was pregnant and lost the baby. Allie's family and friends erected a makeshift memorial at the site of her murder at Sardis Lake, the place where her life was taken. Cindy and Keith, her parents, cling to the memories of their daughter, though the silence still haunts them. Every time Allie's friends witness a pink sunset, their thoughts immediately turn to her. They have dedicated their lives to honoring her memory, striving to bring her light into the world and ensure she will never be forgotten.